emphasize the position of the family as the most important basic unit of governance that must be protected at all costs. Can I invite you back, Honorable Sarah Opendi, to invite Mr. Henk Jan, Director of Christian Council International, to give a goodwill message. Honorable Sarah Opendi. All right. Okay, can I invite Mr. Henk Jan van to come and give a goodwill message?
Honorable members of parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just a few minutes ago, I was moved when I heard the sound of the national anthem of Uganda. I was sitting there, staying there, and looking that way. And there I saw the Dutch flag. Many times these days, I'm not very proud when I see the Dutch flag, knowing that the Netherlands is in the forefront of an exporter of all kinds of policies, which ruins African families, which ruins African cultural values because of its progressive character. All these sexual rights organizations and subsidies, many of them come from The Hague. I live about 20, 30 kilometers from The Hague. But now I'm able to represent this Dutch flag with a pro-family and pro-sovereignty sound. And I'm very proud to do that. I am Henk Jan van Schothorst. The easy way is say Henk from Holland. I'm a former staffer in the European Parliament. I'm a candidate for the European elections in June 6. And I'm also a father of 6 children. And if I did the work only for them, I would still do this work and to defend and to promote life, family, and freedom at international organizations like the United Nations, like the Human Rights Council, like the European institutions, where we have consultative status, so we can do our work there. Recently, I wrote an article, and I give some quotes from that article. The title is Bossy Brussels Clashes with the Bible. I'm a Christian, so I have the Bible as a standard. And I think that's what unites us as believers, that we have standards like the creation order, male and female, he created them. And that is still the standard. But in Brussels, this standard is not accepted. Man has replaced God with human rights and a very liberal interpretation of them. If we go back to the Brussels values, which are established in Article 2 of the European Treaty, then we see nice words like human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, rule of law, and of course, respecting human rights. Also, we have in the fundamental charter of the EU even right to life and freedom of religion. But, as I said, they are interpreted in a very liberal way. And that is the clashing reality. That the progressive and the overstep of their mandate in Europe, that's a real problem, especially from the European Parliament and from the European Commission. And sometimes the European Council can block it because there needs to be unanimity on several issues and policies. Some examples how Brussels is bossy in Europe. I mentioned just a few things. Brussels have created a parent certificate, and that parent certificate is as such that every country needs to accept the rules and laws around family, even including surrogacy, even including the most progressive ways of being a family, like 2 men and 2 women, or gays, or transgender, or whatever. They need to be accepted. So the most progressive legislation, that becomes the norm in the EU countries. Also, if countries don't accept gay marriage, they have to accept a couple coming from another country which are a gay marriage. Another thing, abortion as a human right. Can you imagine that if you defend right to life? And also how they mention women, how they define women, sometimes as persons with a womb. That's the reality in Europe. Then hate speech. Hate speech. If there is a Finnish member of parliament, Mrs. Päivi Räsänen, maybe you've heard of her. She has quoted the Bible on Romans 1, verse 24 till 27, when she said to her church, Lutheran church leadership, don't walk in the pride parade in Helsinki, because your basic document, the Bible, says this about homosexuality. And now she is prosecuted now before the Supreme Court, and because she said that is hate speech. But the Supreme Court has still to decide on that. And we invited her to the Netherlands on Friday evening, Queen's Christian Council International, and therefore I have to depart very unfortunately at tomorrow evening to be back in time to receive her in the Netherlands. Then I could also say things about gender equality or the LGBT strategy, but I'm not going into that. But not only within Europe, also outside Europe, the EU behaves like a boss. Yeah? And I'm very curious to hear about the ACP EU agreement, why countries did not sign it and why countries did sign it. There are so many problematic issues in this treaty. They should be addressed before Brussels addresses you, that you become indeed another colony of Brussels, like Honorable Opendi just rightly said. I could also say something about what they just saw a few weeks ago in Geneva, in the Human Rights Council, where the EU tried to define intersex as a new non-discrimination category. And I saw with my own eyes, just before the vote on this issue, the diplomats from the European countries going out, they went to the Africans and to the developing countries, trying to pressure them on something. I could not hear it, but I can imagine that they tried to pressure them to vote in favor with their position. Many African countries stood strong at that time, but the pressure is high. And that's why I conclude with, we need to stop Brussels. And we need Africa. Sometimes I've said, Africa is the last man standing for these values. And please stand for it. We need you to stay strong for family values and cultural values. Not only for your children, but also for the poor children in Europe. Thank you for staying strong. Thank you.